Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will address party members at their national policy convention in Quebec City tonight. Joining us live with more on this is Vassy Kapelos, CTV News chief political correspondent. Thank you so much for joining us. This is 5 years, I guess, in the making. It's been that long since the party have had this convention. First time with Pierre at the helm, and it's coming at a time when the Conservatives are doing very well in the polls, and even yesterday showing in an Angus Reid poll that Pierre is, I guess, has got twice the lead in terms of preference of who would be prime minister. What are you expecting to happen today, and what do you think the message is going to be from the Conservative leader?
Well, I think it's the first one that's happened in person in that long, and that's pretty important because that's how you gauge the mood, right? That's how you gauge kind of the sentiment of the party right now and what they're feeling. Walking around here, talking to, I think there's 2,300 people who were here last night and throughout the day and into today. I think that the convention comes, as you kind of really adequately laid out there, at a very positive time for the party. They've seen the numbers that were starting to grow for them heading into the summer really solidify their lead. It certainly depends, how much, depending on which poll you're looking at, but in general, their lead has really cemented over the Liberals in pretty much universally every single poll that's come out. And you mentioned the Angus Reid one. Even Pierre Poilievre, who had some weakness in polling when it came to negatives among Canadians, particularly among women and even some younger Canadians, what these most recent polls, including Angus Reid, shows is that he's been able to kind of switch the tide, maybe taking the glasses off worked, I'm not sure. But essentially he's seen his numbers grow from mostly negative to more positive, and that he's also seen his popularity grow among women and younger Canadians. And those are key demographics for future electoral success among the Conservatives. I think they feel their message around affordability and cost of living is really working with those subsets of the population. And so I expect that to continue to be the message when the leader of the party addresses party faithful a little later this evening.
I think you're exactly right. A good makeover could do wonders, especially at a poll sometimes. But you touch upon something important, is the fact that if you've been following the Conservatives online, you've been following Pierre Poilievre, they've really been doing a really good job about hammering the message of how unaffordable life has become over the last 8 years under Trudeau leadership. And I'm guessing that's going to be extremely important moving forward to really hammer that message, because that's what people are talking about right across the country.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the key issue for Canadians right now is that they can't find a home that's affordable, or they can't put food on the table. Everybody, to a certain degree or another, is suffering from a cost of living crisis. And the leader of this party certainly got that very early on in his mandate. And he has drilled it home in, like you said, everything that he says online, everything he says in public. And he has certainly pointed the finger very squarely at the Trudeau government. To kind of, offer some context to that as well, look, government spending and certain policies have definitely contributed to inflation and to the, cost of goods that we buy. It's not the whole picture, though. There are external factors like the war in Ukraine, like recovering from the pandemic, that have greatly contributed to that as well. So it's the rhetoric is not entirely accurate, but it is working, right? Clearly, it's resonating with voters that they feel their life maybe isn't better than it was 8 years ago. And that's the rhetoric that I expect to continue here. I'll quickly say that just a few moments ago, the Liberal climate minister and environment minister, Stephen Guilbeault, stood outside the steps here and took a lot of swings at Pierre Poilievre for a lack of, what the Liberals say is a lack of a climate plan. I think that you can tell two things from that. A, the Liberals do feel that they can criticize Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives on that issue, and that will resonate, because after the wildfires, people are definitely worried about climate. But also, they're a bit worried by the poll numbers that we're talking about, right? To send one of your top ministers outside the steps of this convention to, start taking swings at the leader at this point in time says something.
Vassy Kapelos, CTV News chief political correspondent. We always appreciate your time. Thanks for that report.